Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is BGFH, and I'm back for yet another little accessible puzzle game for iOS. A couple of these came out right in a row, or at least I found them right in a row. For all I know, they've been out at different times, but this one is kind of unique because I follow I follow several people on Twitter who are I'm starting to follow a lot of people who are working with like game accessibility, virtual reality accessibility. People from Microsoft, people from just different developers, and it's kind of cool. And some of them have followed me back, and we've actually gotten into some interesting discussions. This one was developed by one person, and she did it in, what did she say, like just a few hours, I think, at least the version of it that I'm looking at right now. And the goal of this is she's basically developing an accessibility, I don't want to screw this up, but basically like an accessibility API for the Unity engine. Remember, I've talked about in prior videos where a lot of the problem that people have with accessibility, implementing accessibility, whether it's iOS or PC or Mac or consoles, whatever. The problem with a lot of it is like it has to be supported via the engine itself. So you might have let's say the Xbox One. It's starting to have things like voiceover and magnifier in it. iOS has voiceover or narrator. Microsoft has narrator, and it has magnifier. There we go. Get it right, moron. iOS has voiceover and zoom. And that works for some things, but if you're using like a third-party engine or API development tool like Unity or Unreal 4, those things typically don't have accessibility hooks in them, and that's why most games that are developed in Unity, let's say, I'll pick on them, are not generally accessible to assistive technology because they don't have those types of hooks. Whereas if you're using a language that, let's say VoiceOver can interact with, then it's a lot easier. So what this developer has done is basically she's working on making a kind of an add-on for Unity that adds an accessibility layer so that things like this can happen within that engine. So everything that I'm going to be doing in this works similarly to VoiceOver, but it is not VoiceOver. It's actually built in through the engine itself. So if I touch, we are looking at a game called
Blindie Match 3, main menu.
Blindie Match 3. So I can flick to the right, play button,
double tap, easy,
difficulty, easy.
double tap to change, instructions.
I can flick to the right, I can get instructions,
Quit, button, instructions, button,
quit,
double tap to select, quit, button, toggle accessibility mode,
or toggle accessibility mode. So if I want to play this as a regular, just a sighted visual game, I could. And interestingly, the flicking order is actually, you have the accessibility mode is in the bottom middle, and the quit is on the bottom right. So actually, I think that would be, you'd want to switch those two around. But anyway, this is another one of those tile matching games, although this is more of like a traditional match 3, where you don't just tap on a tile, you're actually going to be swapping tiles. So you're going to take two adjacent tiles that are next to each other, either up, down, or left and right, to basically make a chain of 3 or more. Again, this is, for me, this is an old thing because, I played Puzzle Quest 1 and 2. I played, like I said, a gazillions of these types of games over the years. But if, again, these types of things have not been accessible traditionally to a blind audience. So, this is a whole concept, and especially when you're looking at one thing at a time and you literally can't eyeball the board, like, oh, I can just view everything. I have to kind of look at everything linearly. It's a little bit harder to do. So let's, I'm just going to, now I can kind of explore by touch.
Button. Difficulty. Easy. Play.
What I noticed though,
Double tap to
and
select.
maybe this is something that can be optimized, but what I notice is that while a lot of the behavior is like voiceover, I think because you're going through this extra layer, you're going through the engine itself, it's not near as responsive. So if I flick, sometimes the gesture doesn't work the first time, or I have to maybe when I do flicking, I got to flick a little bit more slowly. Otherwise, it might do the flick itself, but the audio might not play, or maybe it won't. Maybe it just doesn't flick altogether. Or if I touch something,
Play. Button.
and then so I
Double tap
touched
to
the
select.
difficulty, but it didn't do anything.
Difficulty. Easy. Drop down list.
So again, you have to
Double
kind of
tap to
take it
change.
at a slower pace because it just doesn't have the responsiveness that like a voiceover would. But again, for being an early part, and this is something that they want to, that she wants to expand on, I think it's an excellent start. So let's go play.
Play. Button. Game started. Double tap with 2 fingers to pause the game. Level goals. 14 emerald gems. Need to be destroyed. You have 10 moves remaining. Tap once with 2 fingers to reveal level
14
goals.
emerald gems need to be destroyed. So
Double tap to select.
when I was recording the other video for Super Tile Smash, I think this is what I was actually getting confused with and how this game works. So the other one was just basically, okay, you want to, you have to destroy 7 tiles, 10 tiles, 40 tiles, whatever. This one you actually want to clear certain colors or certain specific gems. So if I go up to the top here and touch,
Purple. Button. Double tap to select.
so if let's see, what is that? If I tap,
Level goals. Emerald. 0 of 14.
if
10
I
moves left.
if I tap with 2 fingers once,
Level goals. Emerald. 0 of 14. 10 moves left.
0, 14, 10 moves left. So now this game, I have a certain number of moves. So if I match some other colored gems that don't happen to be
Level goals. Emerald. 0 of 14. 10 moves left.
emerald, I can do that, but just know that, I could be setting up for a combo later, which is fine, which happens a lot in these puzzle games. But know that your moves, your limited number of moves is going to go down. Where if you actually clear some of these emerald gems, then your count doesn't go down because you're going toward that goal. In the bottom left-hand corner,
10 moves left.
we got a little pause button, which I'm not quite sure why it doesn't say pause.
Emerald. 0 of 14.
0 of 14. Okay.
10 moves left.
So there's a couple of things in here that I think are not actually accessible,
Emerald. 0
or
of 14.
they're not.
10 moves left.
There's a music button in the bottom right-hand corner, which if I turn voiceover, or if I touched it, huh.
Voiceover on. Blindie match. Voiceover off.
Interesting. I can't touch the music button. So I think, like I said, this is a really early build, and some of the accessibility stuff isn't quite implemented yet. But there's a pause button in the lower left and a toggle music button in the lower right. So one of the things I think that would be really helpful to implement, as far as if you're going to kind of copy what VoiceOver does in the Unity engine or whatever engine it is you're working with, to have this Explore by Touch where I can slide my finger around anywhere and have it respond, reasonably quickly, so that, because again, with a puzzle game like this, flicking left and right doesn't really do me a whole lot of good, because when I'm, that'll just go in order. It'll go, let's say, across the first row, then the second row, and it'll just keep kind of going, whatever the tab order is. But in this kind of a game, you have to spatially know what's above this tile, what is below this tile, left and right. So you have to kind of know these things. So I'm going to go to the top left of this grid.
Purple. Button.
So that's
Double tap to select.
purple. Come on.
Purple. Button.
Wait a minute.
Purple. 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 Button. Purple. Button.
So
Double tap to select.
I can flick in this way. It's a little different than voiceover because I can flick up, down, left, and right, and that will actually take me in that direction.
Gold. Button.
So gold,
Double tap. Gold.
I'm flicking down, so I'm going
Double tap
down
to
that
select.
first column.
Gold. Button. Purple.
So back up to purple. If I flick to the
Double tap
right,
to select. Purple.
got
Button.
another purple.
Emerald. Button.
Okay, well, there's an
Double
emerald.
tap to select. Emerald. Button.
Another emerald, so we
Double tap
need
to
a
select.
minimum of 3 to make that work.
Purple. Button.
Purple,
Ruby. Button.
ruby. Okay,
Double tap to
so I can't make a combo there. Now again, I'm going to be, to move this video along, I'm going to kind of cheat and use my vision. Otherwise, I said we would be here quite a while. But I'm going to do this a little bit with voiceover in the beginning here just to show you how this would work. Okay, so I see that there's some red here, or ruby as they call it. So,
Purple. Button. Ruby. Button.
so
Double tap to select.
here's my ruby. Now, if we actually had, this one doesn't have like grid coordinates. I am 1, 2, 3, 4 rows down and 3 rows in from the left. So
Emerald. Button. Double tap to select. Ruby.
there's a ruby there.
Emerald. Button.
There's a ruby 2 slots down from that.
Double tap
And
to
then
select.
there's a ruby that's offset 1 row to the left in the middle. So what I need to do,
Ruby. Button.
this is going to be
Double tap to
really, really hard to explain just via audio. Like if you see it visually, you'll get it. But without coordinates, it's going to be really tough to explain to you how this is working. So I'm going to double tap on this ruby. Now this clicking means that you are in moving mode, and I need to either move left, right, up, or down to swap places with another gem. So if I move to the right,
Emerald. Button.
emerald, I want to switch
tap to
that
select.
emerald because then I can make a combo of 3 rubies.
Match 3 ruby gems. 9 moves left.
Okay, so I've done that. So I only have 9 moves left because I did not do an emerald one. I just did a red or a ruby. I can already see a couple of moves that I could do.
Purple. Button. Gold. Button. Double tap to select.
Yeah. All I can really do in the play field right now is I can flick left, right, up, or down, which is good. But especially if you're low vision and you want to use a combination of speech and visuals, I cannot seem to move my finger. Right now I'm dragging my finger over the play field like I would with the VoiceOver's Explorer by touch. So I can't do that. So if I was low vision and say, oh, I see some gold gems that I want to swap, I can't just put my finger on one of those and kind of cheat and get there quickly. I actually have to move by flicking.
Double tap to select.
The highlighter,
Button. Double tap to select.
so there's like a kind of a black square around the highlighter around the highlighted gem. So again, if you're a low vision user, maybe having some different color combination or different, like on the main menu, you could have an options thing for, different colored highlighters. So maybe we're at a fairly dark background, so maybe you'd want it to be like a white or a yellow. Maybe you want it to be a square or a circle. Something that kind of, really glows, maybe like a glowy kind of a thing, just to really have it stand out. But again, so we're playing this mainly from an audio perspective right now. That's the way this was designed. And conceptually, that's the starting point of where we wanted to go is, yes, there are ways to do things low vision, which we're already sort of doing, but this game jam was basically to prove that, hey, I can make an engine that is typically not known to be audibly accessible for a totally blind user, and I can make that work. So let's swap this gold.
Emerald. Button. Match 6 gold gems. Match 3 emerald gems. Need 11 more. Match 3 purple gems. Gain 5 moves. 14 moves left.
All right, so now see, because I matched a bunch of gems there, including a stash of emerald, I gained back. I went from 9 to 14 moves. So if I tap with 2 fingers again,
Level gold. Emerald. 3 of 14. 14 moves left.
14 moves left. So I've killed 3 emerald gems, and I've gained some moves back because I made some combos. So I should also mention that just like most puzzle games, most of these grid-based puzzle games, when you clear things, not just the gems that you clear might happen, but what also might happen is if the gems will fall down from the top, and if they fall in such a way that automatically creates another combo of the same or different color, those two will also automatically be cleared. So when I originally cleared the gold, then it cascaded and it made some green combo, and I think I made a purple combo as well. So I actually did 3 or 4 different combos in one actual move just because of how the pieces basically fell in with gravity to replace themselves. So again, you're also going to have a full grid of gems. You're never going to have blank areas. They just kind of fall in like by gravity, essentially. So, oh man, I see a thing of 4.
Blue. Button. Ruby. Button.
So now I'm going to swap up
Gold. Button.
with this gold because I can
Double
make
tap
a
to select. Match
4.
4 ruby gems. Gain 3 moves. 16 moves left.
Okay. So we made another combo. We gained a couple more moves because I somehow comboed another ruby in there. Or another... Okay, so what do we got here?
Gold. Button. Double tap to select. Ruby. Button. Gold. Button. Blue. Button. Blue. Button. Emerald. Button. Double tap to select. Blue. Button.
So I can take this blue.
Emerald. Button. Blue. Button. Emerald. Button. Match 3 blue gems. Match 4 gold gems. Gain 3 moves. 18 moves left.
So right, because, and it's not just if I gain, in this case, a emerald gem. If I match more of like 3 or 5, I can keep gaining moves back. So because I'm comboing things together. So again, if I was totally blind, I would have to move up, down, left, and right, make a mental map of where my gems are, and then know that, okay, these 2 are the ones that I'm going to need to swap. So I'm cheating kind of to move the video along, so I'm doing this visually, but I am doing it with the actual speech gestures. So I see some more ruby ones I can...
Button. Emerald. Button. Ruby. Button.
So let's take this ruby here. See, sometimes it doesn't...
Emerald. Button. Match 3 ruby gems. Match 3 emerald gems. Need 8 more. 18 moves left.
Yeah, sometimes the flicking, like the gestures maybe aren't the most responsive. They work, but you really have to take it at a lot slower pace for it to register a lot of time. Let's see. Oh man, if I could only...
Blue. Button. Double tap to select.
I like that the music is in the background. It's this nice kind of almost like a jazz kind of a thing. It's not too loud. It doesn't get in the way, but it's kind of relaxing. Kind of just gives you something to listen to
Button. Blue.
while you're playing.
Emerald. Match 3 blue gems. 17 moves left.
Okay.
Blue. Button. Double tap to emerald. Button. Emerald. Button.
So I
Double
need...
tap to select.
There's no emerald that I can win automatically, but what I could do...
Button. Blue. Button. Purple. Button. Blue.
Let's swap with this blue here.
Double match 3 blue gems. 16 moves left.
Okay, I was hoping that would have cascade... Oh, okay, but I do see a move I can do now.
Emerald. Button. Blue. Button. Blue. Button. Blue. Button. Emerald.
So that doo-doo, that means I hit the top border because I was flicking up. So we got an emerald here.
Purple. Button. Match 3 emerald gems.
Swap
Need
there.
5 more. Match 3 blue gems. Match 3 purple gems. 16 moves left.
Okay, so I gain a couple moves again. And I have
Level goals. Emerald. 9 of 14. 16 moves
9
left.
of 14. So we're getting there. Do I see... Oh, you know what I do see? I see a heck of a combo that I could make.
Emerald. Emerald. Emerald.
And that might cascade.
Purple. Ruby.
So you want to mix, you want to kind of find a combination of getting the gems that you're supposed to, but also check out the board for, your other tiles because, like I'm going to make a combo of 4 red, and based on what else falls, who knows what other thing that might cascade. That's going to give me some more moves back,
Purple.
and it's also going to maybe give me a bigger combo.
Ruby. Button. Match 4 ruby gems. Match 3 gold gems. Match 3 ruby gems. Gain 3 moves. 18 moves left.
See, I didn't get any emerald, but I did gain some moves back because I had a little cascading combo there. Oh, you know what? I see an emerald, or emerald.
Gold. Button. Ruby. Emerald. Gold. Button.
So
Match
let's
3 emerald
swap
gems.
that.
Need 2 more. 18 moves left.
I need 2 more. Okay, so like I said, normally instead of visually scanning with my eyes, I would be flicking up, down, left, and right just to see the board. But like I said, I don't want this video to be 3 hours long as I do that, so we're going to kind of speed it along a little bit here. I'm going to match these blue gems here because I'm hoping we've got a couple of emerald gems below us, and if I can make an emerald one fall, I might be able to set up a future move.
Match 3 gold gems.
Oh, okay. Well, it didn't work, but I got a combo. Oh. Okay, I'm setting myself up for the win. So you see that I have
Ruby. Button. Purple. Button.
Purple, left and right here on the right-hand side.
Purple.
But there's an emerald gem right above it, so I know that by gravity, if I'm able to clear these purple gems in this move, that's going to fall down, and then I'll be able to swap that emerald gem over to the left one column and get those other 2 emerald gems next move. So there's a purple one up here to the left. I'm going to swap that with the gold.
3 ruby gems. 16 moves left.
Now, see what I just did? Actually, I'm going to make a hell of a combo because I might be able to...
Double tap to select.
So we got emerald, ruby.
Double match 3 emerald gem. Game 1.
Boom. Game 1. All right, I won it. So let's touch the screen here and find out.
Congratulations. You destroyed all needed gems in 1 level.
All right. Awesome. Let's flick to the right.
You made 13 swaps.
13 swaps. That's how many moves it took me to do it.
Game lasted 1,010 seconds.
So it times you. And again, I did a lot of talking and explaining, so I probably could have done it faster.
Play another round. Button. Back to main menu.
Play another round or back to the main menu. Let's go back to the main menu.
Main menu.
Now, for low vision, I'm just going to show you, I'm going to turn accessibility mode off.
Toggle accessibility mode. Button. Accessibility disabled. You can turn on accessibility again at any time by swiping upwards on the screen with 3 fingers.
Swipe up with 3 fingers at any time to turn it back on. So maybe if I needed help, as I'm like, I can't find a move, and I'm not at a fail state, I could have somebody sighted just look at it, and then I could turn it back on. So I'm going to go to play. Now I'm just going to play this as a sighted low vision user and see how things go. Now I can't... So now I'm not going to have any feedback as far as what my objectives are, or... So I have moved 10 moves. It's not going to speak any of that right now. Okay, it looks like I need blue. Okay, I need some blue gems is what I need. Okay, so... well, let's swap these red ones here. Gain some extra moves. And again, notice, even if you're low vision, some of the accessibility things in here, notice that like you have different colors, but not only that, you have different patterns, you have different shapes. This helps for colorblind users. Because there are people with different types of colorblind, like I think there's red-green colorblind and red-blue colorblind. I'm not even sure what other colorblind modes are, but I know there's several different types. Okay, so we're doing that. So again, I can play this. Like I said, I'm not really paying too much attention to my goals, and I should be, but I'm just... Oh, okay, I won already. Sweet! Heck yeah. Killed it. 91 seconds. 9 moves. Alright, and I got my goal. So let's go back to the main menu. If I flick up with 3 fingers...
Enabling accessibility. Blindie match 3. Main
And
menu.
we're back. Accessibility mode is enabled. So I showed you both a round with the accessibility mode on and a mode with it off. So if you are a blind user, if you are a low vision user and still want to use your vision, but you want to support the app that actually has, the accessibility built in, there you go. You can play it. Again, this is something that you could play, blind and sighted people can play together. So Blindie match. It's an early build, but like I said, for being something that was just built in like literally a few hours with this plugin, I think it's awesome. I mean, I can't wait to see if it's expanded on. I remember replying to her on Twitter after she had announced it. I'm like, and I had played it for a couple of minutes just to initially check it out, and I replied to her on Twitter. And I said, "Okay, you got the first step. Now the true." The true test, or the true, I don't remember how I worded it, but the true goal now is to make an accessible puzzle quest. A game where you're doing the match 3, but it's not just a match 3. You're using the game board as a sort of, a means to do battles, and like, oh, you're fighting, so I have to match sword gems to attack, or shield gems to defend, or different colors to charge certain, different colors of mana or get health back or whatever. Yeah, it would be really cool if eventually we would have something like that. Like I said, I love Puzzle Quest 1 and 2. I played the crap out of those, especially the first one. And for, again, with all this accessibility advancements coming in the last couple of years, maybe it won't be super long before somebody decides to create something like that. All these genres that we kind of take for granted, a puzzle game, maybe something like Jetpack Joyride. I would think that would be fairly simple to do. I could already think of a way to adapt something sort of like that. But yeah, all these different types of things. So it's a really interesting time to see what happens here. So hope you guys enjoyed it. It's called Blindie Match, Blindie Match. You can go search for that in the App Store. It is free right now, so definitely go check it out. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Follow me on Twitter at BGFH79. And until next time, I will talk to you guys again later.